How y'all feeling? How y'all feeling? Good. Good to see so many beautiful people out here. Just want to introduce myself. Well, first of all, welcome to the No Jail Tax Rally from BLM, Black Lives Matter Champaign-Urbana. Appreciate you coming out. My name is Kadeem Fuller. I'm a co-organizer. I'm just gonna kick this off with I really wanted to use that chant because I think it's one of the most powerful chants when you look at prison abolition. The fact that what we're trying to do is essentially trying to end prison. This is not just a rally about one jail tax. This is a larger conversation on what can we do as a community to make sure in the next 10, 15, 20, 50 years, we don't even have to worry about putting people in cages, right? Yeah. So brick by brick, wall by wall, we will make our prison fall. This is the point. This is the message that we're trying to set. This is the tone that we're setting with this rally. So basically, the way the setup is going to go out, we have a lot of people that have been affected by mass incarceration that's going to speak to y'all. We also have organizers against this jail tax that's going to speak to y'all. So building political consciousness as well as centering the people that have been impacted by mass incarceration at a basic level. So y'all with me? Yeah. All right. So basically, like I was saying earlier, this is something that we're looking forward to, not just for this jail tax, but to have a conversation about prison abolition, right? So that's what we're going to do. And I really want to introduce this concept of collective incarceration. How many of you, raise your hand if you have someone that's been locked up? Look around, right? This is something that not a lot of people talk about, right? When we talk about collective incarceration, when we talk about incarceration in general, it's easy to think that this is just affecting someone that's been locked up, right? Not remembering and not reminding ourselves that they have a whole family that are doing the time just like they are. So when we talk about collective incarceration, this is collective. This is collective community work, what we're doing. When we liberate people on the inside, we're liberating ourselves because that's our mothers, our fathers, our brothers, our sisters. Y'all feel me? Yeah! So this is what we're doing, prison abolition. So I'm gonna hand the mic over to my co-organizer. What's Liv at? I'm sorry, Evelyn.
Norris.
Hey everybody.
Hey.
I'm Evelyn Reynolds. I'm a lead organizer within the chapter, also co-founder of the Lives Matter Champaign-Urbana chapter. Thank y'all for coming out today. And just like Kadeem said, this is much larger than a vote on this referendum. Obviously vote against this referendum if you are of the voting, if you are interested in voting, vote against this referendum for sure. But also think about incarceration on a national and a global scale. And think about the ways in which, the things that happen locally have ramifications on a national and a global level. And so that's really important. So I want to bring up one of our first speakers for tonight before we talk more and more about kind of our position on this. And so I want to bring up someone from Build Programs, Not Jails, to kind of talk a little bit about the work that they are doing. Build Programs, Not Jails. Christina Khan from Build Programs Not Jails. Let me just say that Build Programs Not Jails, formerly No New Jails, has been working to oppose jail construction and expansion for 6 years. Has it been 6 years this is going on? 4, 5, 6 years? So this is something that the county is invested in. They are invested in incarceration. They are invested in rebuilding and expanding on jails. They've tried to do this for 4, 5, or 6 years now. And members of this community have consistently fought against that. And Build Programs Not Jails has been a group specifically dedicated to that cause, have put out a lot of research on disparities in incarceration, and has always held down BLM, has been a great support network for BLM as well. So we are grateful to Build Programs. Christina Khan.
That's the first time I ever got intro music. That needs to be a regular thing. Whoever, okay, next time. Okay. Oh, always wanted a soundtrack. Okay. Sunny, can you get on that? That would be great. Okay, now. All right, so this is a pretty informal or, relaxed, intimate gathering, which is kind of great. I'm the grumpiest member of Build Programs Not Jails, I think. So that's what's going to come out in my little spiel. I do want to say that there's a lot of information at our table about the specifics of the referendum and the proposal. So if you're wondering as I go through this about details of that, there are a lot of folks here from BP&J who can answer those questions along with myself. So as Evelyn said, my name is Christina. I've been really blessed to be able to have worked with BLM, the BLM CU chapter since it started, and they're amazing, and they have done a lot of work in BP&J as well. So I've only been working with this campaign for about 2 years. I say only because this has been, as Evelyn said, a 5-year campaign. Oh, I got this one too. For 5 years, the county board and the sheriff have been trying to spend tens of millions on jail construction. And for 5 years, our group and many other community groups actually have opposed and fought against this jail construction. So the newest attempt to get millions of dollars to build jails comes to us in the form of a referendum on the ballot this election. So although it's advertised as a public facilities sales tax, this is really a jail tax. Because at the heart of this referendum, there is a proposal for an $18 million jail project. In the same referendum, in the same proposal, we see not a single cent being seriously proposed for alternatives to keeping people out of jail, not a single cent that would address the obvious anti-black racism in the county's criminal justice system, not a single cent that would go to even a brainstorming of creating critical systemic change in our town that is suffering from drug addiction, gun violence, segregation, mental illness, poverty, hunger, and unemployment. Over these 5 years, the board has learned that this town will not support a jail building proposal. They have constantly been met with resistance, and that resistance has consistently won. So this time they're trying to lump this jail project, which is their obvious priority, in with needed maintenance and some funding for the nursing home. And this is a clear manipulation of the most vulnerable in our communities. We reject this attempt by the board to turn us against each other. We will not fall for this attempt at dividing us. We will continue to come together opposing racialized mass incarceration in our own backyards and pushing for safe, healthy, and empowering community-based programs. Within the last 5 years, the county board has been presented with reports and lists of recommendations from the Community Justice Task Force, the Institute for Law and Public Policy, and several community groups. I need intro music and I need like turning page music. The recommendations have focused on ways to reduce jail numbers and provided suggestions for building programs to keep people out of jail. But these recommendations have largely been ignored by the board. And within the last year alone, 3 people have died in the jail. All 3 of them black members of our communities. All 3 in the jail for nonviolent offenses. And I want to say their names today. Toya Frazier. Say her name. Paul Clifton, say his name.
Paul Clifton.
Veronica Horsted, say her name.
Veronica Horsted.
May they rest in peace and power. None of them should have died or suffered the way that they did in a jail cell. And as Councilman Aaron Ammons reminded us very recently, it's the most inappropriate time for her to be coming up here. But as Mr. Ammons reminded us, thank you. These 3, I regret bringing my topic. Okay, start that over. At our last event, Mr. Ammons reminded us that these are not the first people to die in the county jail, but merely the most recent. If our county continues to ignore the racism threaded throughout their processes for traffic stops, ticketing, arrests, booking, jail treatment, trials, more black folks are going to continue to die in the county jail. We should be absolutely angry and upset by even a single death in the jail. Again, last year there were 3, and now the sheriff and county board find it acceptable to tax the county to not only fund their current ways of operating, but to let them build more of the same. I say no. We in Build Programs Not Jail say no. We will mobilize against this sales tax referendum and we will vote it down. And after this election, we will continue to fight against racialized mass incarceration. We need to continue to think critically about the needs of those most affected by this issue in our county. We need to hand them the mic, step back, and listen to their experiences. We need to be critical of reforms that fail to address root causes of incarceration and merely evolve incarceration into a new but just as devastating routine. So let us vote loudly against this referendum. And by that, I mean not just vote no, tell everybody else to vote no. I see a lot of people liking the vote no memes, but not sharing the vote no memes. I like a lot of people liking things, but not showing up to things. And that needs to change, especially for white folks claiming to be allies. All right? And not only do we need to just crush this referendum, we need to see the potential in our county communities. We can set a standard. We have the ability in this town, the size that it is, with the resources it has, with the university at our disposal, we have the opportunity to set a standard to the rest of the nation by not merely defending against jail construction referendums, but by building real alternatives that completely transform our communities to ones where Black Lives Matter, where everyone is safe from fear of violence and we treat each other with dignity, respect, and humanity. I would like to thank Black Lives Matter Champaign-Urbana for having me speak today on behalf of BPNJ. I would like to thank everyone who has been tirelessly and with utmost commitment organizing against this referendum. So many people have been stepping up and just taking a lot of time out of their schedules, but that's really the kind of sacrifice that's needed in order to fend off this kind of nonsense. And this is by no means a simple issue. If it's confusing, which it definitely is at first glance, please, we have so much information making it as simple as possible. Visit us, take some home, take some to your family, take some to your friends, and ask how to get involved. And then lastly, I just want to announce that we're going to have a film showing of the Netflix documentary 13th on November 5th at 6:30 p.m. at Channing Murray Foundation. And we're really lucky because one of the local organizers of VPNJ is in that documentary, and James Kilgore, and he's going to be speaking for a little bit. But what's really important to us is that afterwards we have a breakout discussion and we actually talk about how to figure out how to stop racialized mass incarceration right here in our own backyard, right? This isn't a problem that exists somewhere else. It's happening right here. We have one of the highest rates of racial disparity in the country in our jail. In the entire country, this county has one of the highest. So what are we going to do about that? So I hope you'll join us at that and have a discussion about that. And again, I'm very grateful to VPN for Black Lives Matter for letting us come and hang out with y'all today. Thank you.
Hey y'all. My name's Shamim Razak, and I'm a local organizer of BLM. And I'm just gonna give like my piece, just more so about more of like the mental health prospect of like the referendum. And I just think that it's just, what killed me more about it was just the fact that we're having to vote to get resources for people who are vulnerable, like Christina said, to get that resources in the jail instead of giving them in the community. We need to stop criminalizing people who have mental illnesses or addictions. It's wrong. And these people need that help. There shouldn't be the last resort is going to a jail and expecting that the police officer is going to help them with their addiction, or a police officer is going to help them with a disorder. This got to end. We can't keep over there expecting that somehow everybody knows somebody who's been going through a mental illness or somebody going through some substance abuse. We all know somebody who's gone through that. And that's the last place is I want to find them, is in a cage, going through that, dying. It's not right. For me personally, it just goes to me personally because I have a brother who has a mental illness. And God forbid that any day that I am not here, my sister's not here, my parents aren't here, and he's not able to get those resources and end up getting older and ends up in some type of prison. We can't keep criminalizing black folks. We just can't. We have to, I think at the end of the day, when you're thinking about going to go vote no for this tax, please remember these people. Please remember Toya Frazier. Please remember Veronica Horsted. Please remember Paul Clifton. Please remember all the people that have died and have gone through this jail system. And all who could have got those resources somewhere else except the damn jail. Yeah. Thank you.
That's a hard act to follow right there. I did some perusing of the county website this morning, and I want to share a few things with you from that, from their facilities plan. And so in this proposal, in this plan, you know, there's a deferred maintenance category, there's a development projects category, and really when it says courthouse, when it says Illinois law enforcement alarm system, and it says relocation soft costs, all those things that say jail, jail, jail to me. So let me give you a bit of a breakdown here. We have $2,735,000 for the courthouse. This is deferred maintenance. The courthouse annex, $2,795,000. The courthouse complex, $450,000. The Elias building, the Illinois Law Enforcement Alarm System building, $3,210,000 there. The Juvenile Detention Center, $1,980,000. The Satellite Corrections Facility, $3,645,000. And so that's a total of $14 million as far as the deferred maintenance. And $22 million is allotted in deferred maintenance. So of that $22 million, $14 million is going toward jail priorities. So looking at the development projects, this is $30 million is the total for that. Relocating the sheriff's office to Elias, $3 million. The satellite jail consolidation and enhancements, $12 million, $795,000. Relocation soft costs, $1 million. And so this is totaling $17 million. $17 million of the 30 for development projects. So what do we have total? The grand total for jails and policing and incarceration, $32 million is what I added up here. Wow. $32 million. And so as Build Programs, Not Jails, has stated and listed in their materials, information materials, approximately $50 million, something like $52 million would be generated over the time that the sales tax would be incorporated. And so of that $50 million, we're talking about $32 million of that going toward jails and policing. So that's what we're working with here. That's how, you know, they're trying to dupe us with this facilities improvement and talking about the nursing home. They don't care about the nursing home. Guess how much went to the nursing home? $5 million went to the nursing home. So we don't need to invest this kind of money into a criminal justice system that we know is corrupt, that is criminal itself. How about we open up these jail cells and incarcerate the real criminals in uniform, in riot gear, pepper spraying our Native American folks in North Dakota, raiding our immigrant houses, policing queer bodies. They're the ones that need to be locked up. Not another cent toward incarceration locally or nationally. Not another cent. This country incarcerates over 2 million people. 2 million people, over 2 million people are in jails in this country. That is absurd, and that should be enough to galvanize the masses. You know, and I'm always amazed that people are just asleep on this. Not another cent, not another cent. And so I do appreciate the people that are working within these institutions. I really think it takes a bold person to work within these very racist institutions in our society, and I'm one of them. I work within the educational institution. And so I appreciate the people that are working from the inside, pushing out, and really caring about the people. And I think Carol Ammons is one of those people that I have a lot of respect for, that I see unafraid to push this issue of race forward and to illustrate that connection of race and criminality. So I really appreciate you, Carol. And on that note, State Representative Carol Ammons, please.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming out, and thank you all for sticking with this seriously important issue. I just want to say, in relationship to Toya Frazier, Toya's sister lives across the street from here. And when we talk about the deaths in the county jail, I served on the county board for 7 years. And for all of those 7 years, at some point or another, we had to fight back the expansion of the criminal justice system. We had to vote against the expansion of the courthouse. I didn't even show up for the grand opening of that facility, because I've always believed that the resources need to be invested in the community, not in the complex that it has created. And so today, this afternoon, for those who I don't know, I'm Carol Emmons. I'm the state representative for Champaign-Urbana, the 103rd District. And I'm here to not add my voice, but continue my voice of opposition to the mass incarceration system that we've created in this country, but specifically in Champaign County, as a so-called solution to the needs of the county. During my term on the county board, we dealt with the issue of the tax referendum, the quarter-cent sales tax, which is up again for this conversation. And in the process, what we have learned, and we know, and every county board member knows, that the bonds that are on the current quarter cents will expire, and they've always underfunded facilities. And in 1 year, you'll have enough money to start your deferred maintenance project. Do you really need another quarter cents? That's the question. They knew that they could not put a jail tax referendum on the ballot alone, and therefore, like shifty politicians, we figure out how to just put it all together.
Don't include yourself.
I'm a stateswoman, I don't talk about them. So we don't need a remodeled jail. When I talk to people who've been incarcerated, they never come to me and say, Carol, I really wish you would put new curtains in this jail. I sure wish these beds were more comfortable. These are not things that people write me about from any facility in the state of Illinois. What they do write me about, though, are resources in community, opportunities for housing and jobs. That's what they write me about. Making sure that they have adequate medical care. That's what they write me about. So by investing our resources in imprisonment, while community-based programs like affordable housing, healthcare reentry support, which we couldn't get money from this same quarter cents, in reality for real reentry in this community, child care and job training, food access to chronically underfunded communities, as we sit here in Douglas Park. We're creating a situation in which many people need to get locked up to get access to those very services. And that is what the prison industrial complex actually creates. It creates a void where we spend most of our dollars actually on it, as opposed to actual programs that benefit the people in the community. I know this experience too well because I'm an activist organizer. As a former county board member, I fought many of those years attempting to get the board to shift its thinking away from public policy that incarcerates to a more community-based solution. I'm suggesting that you do need money in your plan for maintenance of your facilities, but you don't need it as an expense or in exchange to the rights of the people to live freely in the community. Expanding access to programs through pretrial diversion, which we worked on when we fought back this last jail expansion. Part of the recommendation was pretrial services in the community, and they piloted for 30 days what they considered a pretrial program. And shockingly, it failed. We know that pretrial services work. It works in other communities, yet we haven't implemented a real pretrial services program here, which it is my duty and my job to do. Alternative sentencing and split sentences would save the county a huge construction costs, as well as operating costs, and give people resources and support that they actually need to stay out of jail. Whether jail cells have wrought iron bars or curtain windows and soft lighting, they still break up families and are harmful to people's mental health and medical health, which we know because Toya Frazier died, causing devastating disruptions, including a loss of freedom, housing, and employment. And often, that is lost within the first 3 days of sitting in the county jail. I'm going to say that again. People lose their houses and their jobs within the first 3 days of sitting in the county jail. We need fully funded addiction treatment centers in this community, which I have asked for in the past, that the county board takes a responsibility for county providing resources for true drug treatment, fully funded in our community, where the state continues to fail on these questions. And the state's leadership has been consistently cutting community-based programs. We know that smaller communities have to come to the aid of people in their own communities. The true danger of jail expansion is that our culture of mass incarceration has indoctrinated all of us to see empty beds in our jails, and we're compelled to fill them. Champaign County has spent $70 million a year booking on average of 8,000 people in the county jail. That's 70 million tax dollars that we didn't spend on our parks or schools, our infrastructure, the maintenance of the facilities, the mental health services in our community, our nursing home, which has struggled from the time I got on the county board to now, after school programs, or anything else that has benefited our community. This money is not spent on steering people away from the criminal justice system, providing job training for them as a county responsibility. It is not spent on those programs. Just a fraction of the cost is donated to nonprofit organizations. It is a crime that we continue to charge people and add additional tax dollars to the rolls for programs that don't actually help our community. So for us to add and ask the people of Champaign-Urbana and Champaign County to give us another tax, and I'm not gonna tell you exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna kind of throw some things out that I plan to do. But if you give me the money, I'm gonna do the right thing. That's the message. That has been the message, and that's the message we're rejecting today. This money is actually not necessary. I'll say that again for those who, this tax, it is unnecessary. I am asking everyone to vote no on Champaign County's request for another tax, a quarter-cent sales tax on this November's ballot. Because the county needs to be held responsible for the amount of money it is allocating in the criminal justice system as a whole. And what was just read by Evelyn really highlights this point. What percentage, as James Kilgore comes up next, what percentage of this tax will actually go to maintaining the criminal justice system as opposed to maintaining our nursing home for our seniors, to maintaining reentry programs for our community? How much money has been invested actually in the people? The mentality of this is devastating Black and brown communities all around us. We know the people behind these doors. We know what they're experiencing. And we also know that they need our support. They don't need further incarceration. I'll say to the sheriff, if you want to close the downtown jail, close it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Nothing has stopped the sheriff from closing the downtown jail to this point. You actually don't need to expand your jail. What you actually need is pretrial services, and that's what we are working on. We have launched in our first effort to really force Illinois to deal as a state, not as a few counties dealing with pretrial services, but as a state. And as state representative, we have just launched something called 3 Days Count Initiative. This initiative is to look at the devastation that holding people in county jails throughout the state of Illinois pre-trial is having on their lives and their families. And we have to release those people so that they can come back to court as assigned when their court dates are due. Many people are sitting in our county jail right now because they cannot make bail. I'll say that again. Many people, the sheriff can close the downtown jail right now and not be overrun or out of beds if we had actual pretrial services in Champaign County. Let people go who are in the county jail because they cannot make bail. We don't have an adequate risk assessment tool, which the 3 Days Count program is designed for us to design a tool in Illinois that will get our judges and our sheriff's department on the same page and let people go and get rid of this debtor's prison called bail or cash bail. We want to end that. So for those who are organizers, I don't know how long you've been organizing. I just realized I've been organizing almost 20 years now. Doesn't seem like it, but I have. I've been in a lot of campaigns. I've done a lot of organizing. And what I would tell you to organize people, there is no better way to do that than to go and talk to them. Go and knock on their door and ask them, do they know about this issue? So over the next 7 days that we have till Election Day, put your investment in the doors. Canvass and knock on their, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. I promise they won't hurt you. Knock on their doors. Ask them, do you know about this referendum? Are you registered to vote? Are you registered to help us defeat this referendum? In a democracy, the only thing you have is either advocates inside or you have the electorate. You have nothing else. In a democracy, you have advocates inside, or you have the electorate who will make us responsible. Hold the county board responsible by helping to vote down this referendum and force them back to the table to really look at what is necessary for Champaign County to get a system that works for the people of Champaign County. Thank you so much.
Hey, family. Come on, y'all need this. I gotta have some energy. Hey, family, how y'all feeling? How y'all feeling? Can I get a hey, family? Hey, family. See, I'm from the South, right? I'm from Alabama, so I'm gonna try to do a chant with y'all. I need some call and response, right? So when I say hey, family, y'all repeat it, okay? So hey, family, hey, family, hey. 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 I just want to wake y'all up a little bit, but just want to just throw a shout out for our DJ AG. So we're gonna ask him to give us a little something, a little kick it old school for me real quick. And y'all are free to dance, do what y'all want to do.
You want some old school?
Yeah. Do it. I can't be the only one dancing, y'all. Y'all get real embarrassed up here. Appreciate y'all. I really just wanted to give you a glimpse of what Black joy looks like, right? And I think anytime we organize, when there's Black people in the room, we have to acknowledge who we are as a culture and understand that dancing is in everything we do. Hip hop is in everything that we do. All right? So nothing but Black love. But going with that, once again, I said earlier that this rally is meant to center the people that have been affected by mass incarceration the most. And because we are a family, we want to give our time and our energy and our thought to hear the experiences of someone that has been incarcerated. So with that being said, I'm gonna introduce y'all to Joby Taylor. He's an organizer for Ripple Effect and alumni of the Education Justice Project.
Hey y'all. Thanks for coming out. I agree with everything what everybody said about they definitely don't need no money to be no other part of the jail. I'm really not going to touch on that, but I am for that. I'm just going to touch on as far as the conditions that's in jail, where it's really not no place for nobody to be. So, you know, they want to put money into incarceration to house mainly poor blacks and poor brown kids. So I just want to touch on the stuff that's going on in jail. For one, they have poor health care. You know, like y'all spoke about the young lady that passed away. You know, I didn't know her. I'm from Chicago, so I don't really know too many people here in Champaign, but they do the health care. They get all the money for health care, and they have so much where they supposed to send individuals out to get treatment, and they pocket that money. You know, I had a couple of friends that passed away that, you know, was fighting cancer, and they could have been saved through chemo, but instead they passed away in prison. So they have unhealthy food there. So you have individuals that's incarcerated to this truth and sentence law where they're doing 85% and 100% of their time, and God forbid, but you know, they may not make it out because of the food that they're consuming in the prison system. So, you know, those are just some of the effects that it has on individuals that's in there. I did 20 years in prison. You know, with the blessing of God, I was willing to come from up out of there, and I've mainly rehabilitated myself because they're taking all the programs up out of there to give individuals a chance to rehabilitate themselves, to come back out here and be a productive citizen within society. So, you know, putting money into a corrupted criminal justice system that's really not beneficial to nobody. It's not helping. Like Carol said, all it does is break up family. And you know, I had multiple family members that passed away due to my incarceration, so you know, I can never get them back. So I just, you know, like she said, knock on doors, make people aware, because I talk to people at my job, and my job is predominantly white, and they didn't even know what was even in that bill. All they know is when they go on to vote, they just yes, 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 and not even knowing what they're voting for. So I educated them on what their sales tax bill was, and when I told it to them, and they was like, wow. So, you know, we got to educate our community, we got to educate the state, or Champaign County rather, on what is being in that bill and that they're trying to add on to the jail, and we really don't need that. We need, like they say, everybody said, build programs, build something that's going to help individuals coming out. Let's help the individuals that's coming out, and so far as housing and jobs and things of that nature, not trying to put them back in there. And then, like Carol said, after 3 days, you lose your job and your house, and now they're coming back out. They starting from the bottom. So we got to be mindful. Knock on doors, everybody. Let's get this message across. We got 7 days to do it. I believe we can do it. It's enough of us out here. Man, let's do what we got to do, y'all. Thank you, thank you.
Hey y'all. So, I'll be reading a poem by a former incarcerated person, Michael Gladney. Here goes his poem. Day 2 of an emotionless thought process. A stage of American outrage within the guidelines of a forgotten society. Perplexed perspectives perfected in the abstract of an uncommon man. Needless to say, I'm what you are not and will never be. Yes, black as night, cold as ice, and strong as steel. There is no jail, nor prison to contain my rage. I am what you're captured and tried to conceal in years. I am an immoral part of you. I am day 2 of an emotionalist thought process. Thank you. And coming right up is James Kilgore, and he'll be speaking for First Followers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I have a little old school? I fulfilled the bill of being old school, I think so. Give me a little old school for a minute. Okay. Get me warmed up, you know. How old is old? Oh, I don't know. I lost count. I got to start taking off my shoes and socks to count all those years.
How you feel, brother? You feel good?
There we go, there we go.
So much bone dollar. How you feel, man? All right. I thought you had some footwork there.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Black lives? Black lives? Okay, thank you very much. Thanks to Black Lives Matter for organizing this, and for everybody coming out today on this unseasonably scary warm day. We know climate change is killing us, and we're enjoying it. Yeah. I want to talk about an event that happened last weekend. That was the expungement workshop at Stone Creek Church, which was organized by the county circuit clerk and by Carol Ammon's office. It was an amazing event. 1,100 people signed up to get their records sealed or expunged to try to do something about their criminal background. Over 500 people actually showed up. There was 100 lawyers there, and some people got their affairs taken care of. But what does this tell us? This tells us how huge this problem is in this community. How do you get 1,100 people starting at 8:30 on a Saturday morning, lined up all the way out the church door, out into the street, the parking lot overflowing, people having to park 2 blocks away to come and try to get their criminal records expunged. And I don't need to tell you what the makeup of that crowd was. 80 to 90% of the crowd was black people that have been affected by the criminal justice system and are trying to get out under the foot of all the obstacles that they face by having a felony conviction, by having a record of incarceration, and so forth. Now this is just an example of something that our county board could be doing instead of trying to mess around building more jail buildings. But they have a complete lack of imagination, except for one thing. I'm going to give them credit for having an active imagination. They've created a wonderful fantasy. When they presented the county jail project, what it was going to look like, they told us that the booking area was going to look like an airport transit lounge. Now, I've spent 6.5 years in prisons and jails, and some of them are better than others, but putting that leather sofa and that 63-inch color TV in there doesn't make it stop being jail. It's still jail, and they think that they're going to fool people somehow by saying, oh, you're in a comfortable space now. You're in a welcoming space now. It's not comforting. It's not welcoming. It's still jail, and we don't need it.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of ideas that might prompt the imagination of the county board. If we want to talk about public facilities, let's talk about transitional housing for people coming home from prison. We got 400 people on parole. We got 400 people on parole in this county at any given time. We got hundreds of people on probation from the county. And we got thousands of people with those felony convictions waiting to try to get something done about it. And we got, according to my count, we got 12 beds for transitional housing for people coming out of prison. And the majority of those are faith-based, so you've got to be of a certain religious persuasion to even be in those spaces. And let's remember that when you come out of prison, how much money do they give you? $10. That's your gate money. So where are you going to get an apartment for $10? All right? So we could build transitional housing. We need public housing in general, but transitional housing in particular for people coming home from prison. Because once you have a house, you have a place, you have a base of operations, your life is stable, you can look for jobs, you can connect to people. But when you're not knowing where you're going to sleep that night, how are you going to focus on hunting for a job? How are you going to focus on getting your life back together? And what have they done recently? They've closed the Salvation Army shelter and the Time Center, the two biggest shelters for people in this county. So there's no place for people to go. So maybe the county board could have thought a little bit about transitional housing. Maybe they could think about some kind of a youth job training center to keep those youth from going into the system and give them some skills that can allow them to be able to succeed rather than to get caught up in the wheels of mass incarceration. So all the county has done for reentry is set aside $100,000 a year to run a reentry program. And that's peanuts compared to what they want to spend on this jail. $100,000 a year, and most of that is going to salaries. It's not going directly to the people who are actually critically affected. So there's lots of ways in which the county board could apply their imagination to this problem. But of course, imagination isn't their specialty. We have to provide the solutions, and we have to pressure them from below, along with the other authorities and people with resources in this community, to satisfy the needs, to give resources to people who are coming home from prison. So, in closing, I just want to say that one other thing the county board needs to change. They need to change their terminology. They're still calling us inmates, offenders, ex-felons, all of these stigmatizing terms that they apply to people who have a criminal background. We are human beings, and we need to be spoken of in the language of human beings. So I attended the national conference of the It's an awkward name, but it's a great organization. The National Movement of Formerly Incarcerated People and Families. Okay? But everyone there, we use the language of formerly incarcerated people, or we've shortened that now to FIPs. So we want to turn FIPs into VIPs. Okay, and we want those VIPs to be called to the table by the county board and the other political powers that be in this county when we start discussing how we're going to handle reentry, how we're going to address the problems of people coming home from prison, people coming out of jail, people with a felony background. Let's have the voices of the people who have that direct experience and their loved ones to inform what policies are being made, what referendums are going to be put on the ballot, and what facilities are going to be made to benefit the community. The lives of incarcerated black people, the lives of the loved ones of incarcerated black people, Black lives matter. Thank you.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, James. I was thinking about the county board as he mentioned them and my experiences sitting through grueling county board meetings. And I think it is important to know the people that are coming up with these types of proposals and things. And my experience with the county board has not been pleasant. I've been at meetings in which members of the county board have voted no, and I mean no with hostility, hatred, and venom, voted no to things like the Racial Justice Task Force. They voted no to extending public participation so that people could talk, and express the way that they're feeling about issues in our community. No. No. I mean, it's awful. These are the kind of people that we're working with that are creating these proposals to incarcerate and remove people from our society. And that's the way that I think of it, as removing those undesirable people from our society. Removing black folks and people of color, removing queer folks, removing trans folks. And also thinking about I wanted to bring up I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the political prisoners as well that we have in this country and abroad. And on our table here, I have just a photo of just a few of the political prisoners in the U.S. And I think it's really important that we acknowledge them and the reasons that they are incarcerated. People are being locked up for speaking out in the way that we are. Black Lives Matter has had our own political prisoner, Jasmine Abdullah, who luckily she's been released now, but had some terrible experiences in jail, drinking water filled with maggots and all sorts of horrible things happening to her in the month that she was in jail. So our political prisoners are very important, and we need to think about that in relation to ourselves and the activism that we do, that it can't be us. So we need to be advocating hard for our family in prison because of their political activities.
Appreciate that. So Black Lives Matter is an anti-police, anti-imperialistic, anti-capitalism space, right? We're radical organizers, radicalizing and raising the consciousness and working with the black community within Champaign-Urbana. That's what we do, right? This is who we are. We're a revolutionary group, and we're a space where we affirm trans and queer people within our circles, understanding that until all of us are free, none of us are free, right? Woo! Exactly. So with that being said, we can't do the work that we do without being anti-prison, right? Understanding that literally almost every institution has a pipeline to prison. Understanding that the groups that are deemed unworthy from society are placed in prison. So our work is inherently anti-prison as well. So with that being said, like I said last time, we're also pro-hip-hop. Understand the culture. This is what we do. So we have two MCs. They're gonna grace us with their presence. Spin some bars. Sunny Teray.
What's up, everybody? Yeah. Happy to be out here. Shout out to BLM for putting this on, BLMCU. We voting no to the jail tax, right? Yeah. What we gonna vote? No. What we gonna vote? No. Thank you. All right, I didn't really come prepared, but I got some stuff written on my phone I'm just gonna read off. I said this shit ain't really changed. Brain so filled up with this pain. Rode the urban, flicked the flame. Heard the coppers mark the game. System hurts us for a gain like the Zella Hurricane. Trying to duck a murder frame. Am I working if I'm sane? Steady working in this game. Snakes rehearsing what they saying. They deserve us and keep praying. Don't deserve us while we stand. Nervous when we see the cops. That's why I say fuck the cops. Misusing power they got to keep us beating the lock. Down mentally, physically, spiritually. Y'all cause they fearing me. It's wearing me down. The summer smoked me a pound. Okay, they fearing me now. My vision clear to me now. Send this question up to God. Are you hearing me now? Peace.
What's up, everybody? My name is Key. I'm Sonny Teray's homeboy from Cincinnati, and I just want to share a little something with y'all that I wrote. Just a quick 16, real quick. Preach, brother. Speak to them. Hope they listening. Speak over the TVs, the crooked politicians. They cause the petty crime with the long sentence. The jury don't need no witness. You guilty within the minutes of walking inside that courtroom, a gas chamber for blacks. They suffocating the truth in the name of all of the facts. To that mother that's in the back of that courtroom to please relax. I know they shot and killed your son. They said he tried to attack, but the bullet they found him was the one that they found in his back. I know you mentioned that he smoked weed. That was just to distract the jury from the truth. God damn it, they succeeded. I didn't think they believe it. You should have gave better reasons. Being unarmed ain't good enough in a system whose foundation is really corrupt. So tell the court reporter that she out of order. She ain't justify any actions. They just want to lie. Thank you.
We will make your prisons fall. Brick by brick,
wall by wall, we will make your prisons fall. Brick by brick, wall by wall, we will make your prisons fall. Brick by brick, wall by wall, we will make your prisons fall.
Really appreciate y'all, man. I think understanding that tactics are extremely important when you're dealing with state violence, right? When you're dealing with the state. So understanding that voting is a tactic. It's not the only strategy, right? So being a revolutionary group, understanding that liberation is not gonna come through voting, right? Black liberation, what we want, what we really need, black liberation is not gonna come at the hands of voting. It's gonna take grassroots organizers. So I encourage you there's so many different places on campus and in the community where you can organize. This is where the work begins, right? This is where we build a radical love framework to have liberation for ourselves and for our kids and for the future generations of oppressed people in this nation and hopefully across this world. So, y'all bear with me. Okay, so basically, grassroots organizers, like I was saying, we have some sign-up sheets. We're also starting a campaign in regards to education. Understand that the school to prison pipeline is real, especially in Champaign County. Yeah. Let me give y'all a few stats, because they shocked me, right? So 75% of all suspensions in Champaign District 4 schools from 2012 to 2015 were black students. 75% that were suspended were black. And 65.8% of all suspensions in Urbana-Champaign District 116 schools from 2011 to 2015 were black students. So please, we understand that in order to have an impact in mass incarceration, we have to make sure that these schools hold themselves accountable, because our kids are not getting the best resources due to basically anti-black racism and anti-black policy. So please sign up to be a member of Black Lives Matter CU. Sign up to be a part of this campaign to make sure that our kids are getting the proper education that they need. Yeah. Last words?
I just want to thank everybody coming out over here. Like, this is great. But at the end of the day, we just need to remember that it's not only just about voting, it's also about the work that we do here in this community. We have to engage the community in doing these things and notifying people what's going on and making everybody aware of what's going on that's going on in the county jail and going on in the education, everything. Like, it's great to see all y'all. Y'all are great. Like, I love seeing all y'all, but we need to do the work and keep motivating ourselves to keep doing the work, because it is tough, but we still got to keep doing it. And we got to do it for our loved ones, we got to do it for our friends, we got to do it for our family, everybody. So thank you.
Well, thank y'all so much for coming out. We're gonna just spend the rest of our time listening to some music and mingling a little bit here. We have our sign-up sheets and some informational materials on the Build Programs, Not Jails table and the BLM table. So we'd love to meet and talk with folks a little bit more. Once again, we really appreciate y'all. Vote no.
No.
No jail tax.
No jail tax.
No DAPL.
No DAPL.
No anti-black racism. No trans queerphobia. Right? Thank y'all very much. Appreciate y'all.